Hello, I wanted to share my latest stereo experiment, which has been a lot of fun. Um, this is not an original idea. I got an inkling for it many years ago, and I searched it up, and someone else attempted to it, but it's been hard to find the software to make it happen. But the goal is to have less audio throughput to each driver in a speaker. So I've got two different sets of speakers for my experiment, and these big guys, they have three drivers in them, and then the little bookshelf on top of them, which have their own three, well, two and a half drivers. Uh, so they have crossovers in them that divide certain frequencies between their bigger drivers and their smaller drivers, and I wanted to half that even more. The goal being so a driver doesn't have to do so much blah 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 blah, uh, and like it's just too much bandwidth. They're physical devices, so the less they have to move, the more efficient they'll be, and supposedly the cleaner the sound should be. So I'm putting less sound. Every driver has less sound to deal with, so hopefully it does better at the sound it's doing. It's the same thing what a crossover within a speaker does. It's just I'm trying to take more direct control of that and reproduce it across more drivers. And I'm doing that. Excuse this mess. It's not going to get any better, so I probably shouldn't apologize for it. But this is how I make things happen. Uh, this is a DAC. It's upside down, so it's not really helpful to look at. USB goes to my computer, and then it outputs. This is supposed to be your front channels, your center, and your subwoofer, and your rear channels. And it's got an extra port for side channels, but I don't have enough amplifiers to do that right now, or speakers. Uh, so my front channels are going straight to this amplifier here. Uh, and I'm only using the subwoofer channel. There's nothing in the center one, right? Yeah, there's nothing in the center channel coming out. So it's going to a mono amplifier to go directly to my subwoofer. And the quote-unquote side channels or rear channels are being amplified up here, and obviously they're not set up in a surround sound. They are just up there on top of my regular stereo channels. They are being powered by some 12-volt batteries. It's very unnecessary. My next physical step would be to, well, actually one of two, but I'll get to the second one later, but I can easily uh, I would want to get all the same brand of amplifier, probably mono ones, and just wire them all together so you don't need multiple power sources to run them, which I could do that now, but yeah, it functions and I don't want to mess with it anymore. So that's the physical setup. Oh yeah, and the next, well, I'll show you what's actually going on in the software. This is possible thanks to this free program, Equalizer APO. Took some digging to find this. I don't know how popular it is. I'm definitely not using it the way people intend to, but it just takes control of your audio software so you can control it more directly. This is me taking stereo sound and duplicating what would normally just go to left and right channels and duplicating it for every speaker I have. So subwoofer there, and then my quote-unquote rear speakers over here just duplicates left and right directly. But then it also selects those individual speakers. So this and lets me do a little crossover of selecting only the audio frequencies I want to use. So this shows my big speakers here, the left and right basics. Like they're actually meant to be your front channel left and rights, and they are only outputting frequencies in the middle of the wave here, like 100 hertz, 100 something hertz to 10,000 or something like that. And then I select my rear channels, and I just have a high pass, so everything over 1,000 hertz comes through the small guys, since they've got smaller drivers, so they can deal more with its highs. And then one more, I got the subwoofer, which just handles the super low stuff with a low pass filter. And this software is awesome because it lets me, it's very intuitive and easy to use. I can have different arrangements here. So if I have, I don't want to keep unplugging this thing. If I have, Windows will automatically start playing movies and stuff in 5.1. But like I said, I don't have a center channel, so I'd have to turn on this thing to recreate a center channel by duplicating the software center channel and sending that to all my speakers so I get even audio. But for music purposes is my main intention. And I'll give you a little sample here. It's obviously not going to tell you audio quality, and honestly, I'm not sure if the audio quality is better, but I can. It's more interesting to listen to. It gives me more options, and I think it's going to take some tweaking, but there's more potential here. Uh, my next step would be to, like, the flaw right now is that these speakers have their own crossovers in them, so I'm actively overriding but not disabling them. So I'm going to semi-long term, next part of the project, whenever I feel like doing that, is I don't need those top speakers, the bookshelves. The drivers inside these big boxes are fair enough. I just need to get inside them, take out their own crossover hardware parts, and plug my little setup directly into each driver, and then I can control that independently. Which kind of defeats the purpose of having more drivers. Like, I could still use at least one or two more drivers, but yeah, obviously I'm not very focused, but this is where it's at right now, and I'm pretty amused by result I've had. Let's get some music going here. So obviously you're not going to notice anything through my phone here, but you will be able to hear an actual difference when I switch between the speaker modes. Yeah, so this is what it sounds like just normally, because plain Jane stereo music files play normally without any crossover other than what's built into the speaker. And that's what that normally sounds like. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's making the audio specifically better, but you get a bigger presentation and more volume just by turning it on. Yeah. So there's a big difference there, which I have no means to actually measure that other than my own preferences, and I'm very interested in the differences I'm hearing. I prefer to listen to it in this setup I've got going right now. It's got some flaws I've noticed though, but that's more so because of my inexperience choosing frequencies and crossover stuff. Hopefully, I'll get better at it as I play around. Anyway, I think it's an interesting setup, and if you like messing around with audio, I recommend giving it a shot.